Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Boys, that is a greeting from our guest today. We are here today to have a conversation, to have a metagaming conversation. I'm here with one of my close friends and a superb person that I'm very excited for you all to meet today. Rhino was meant to be hosting. Get well soon, buddy. He's not feeling well today. He is sitting in chat with us, though. Feel free to hang out with him. Make him feel better. Send him some love in chat. But let's go on. Let's meet our companion, our friend, Mr. Bizzey. Welcome, sir.
Ja, servus. Ja, wie geht's denn euch heute?
Ja, servus. How are you doing, my friend?
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys?
There it
Welcome back. I'm doing good. Thank you.
Back,
How are you?
Welcome back. Welcome back. Every time. These are like the Bizzey B things. Whenever we play games or anything like that, Bizzey's like our jukebox, man. He's got songs all the time.
Oh, I am a jukebox. But just for certain genres. Not for everything, but
hell yeah,
for
man.
a lot.
For a lot of things, right? Yeah, man. It's good. It's good. So, my friend, we are here to ask you questions to learn about the man behind Hatsu Toshitsugu. Brain. You were getting all hyped up today. I saw you were playing Ghost of Tsushima. So you're getting all in the mood for Hatsu?
Ghost of Toshitsugu, yeah.
Ghost of Toshitsugu, sure. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, it's a fucking beautiful game. And it's been a while that I have played such a cinematic game. I think the last one was Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh, yeah.
And before I played Uncharted. But these were the only, like, cinematic-esque games I ever played.
Yeah.
So I fucking love it. It's like watching a movie and you can direct some of the scenes. It's super fun.
Yeah, cinematic games are always the sort of cornerstone of gaming for me. Like even Fallout and stuff, just playing through that experience and having the narrative is always amazing. But that's how we get into RP games. That's the threshold. Tell us about yourself. Tell us how you got into streaming and playing D&D and teach us.
Oh, man, that is a long way. I have to say that I have not, like the others, like a traditional route that I play tabletop RPGs, Basically, I got introduced to tabletop from you. You invited me to the first campaign that I ever played. And the only role-play game I've played is Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, that's a good one.
Some Diablo 3, some Path of Exile. That's about it. Like, Skyrim is the big one, I guess.
Oh yeah,
a lot of it.
That's D&D the game, right?
But when it comes to tables, my home base is chess. Like, I've played chess since, like, I don't know, 20 years or something.
Yeah, you're getting me interested in it. You know, we've been talking about chess a little bit. It's but that does that inspire kind of how you play? Because you're very methodical and you think about each turn and each round. Does chess kind of influence that when it comes to D&D for you?
Absolutely. So for me, each character on the board is basically a chess piece with certain abilities, and I know you can give a checkmate with every piece, so it's not important which one. So I always view the battlefield in a way that I try to see, okay, which piece is in the best position to give a killing blow, and how can I support that? Or do I have to be the one that gets into position? To me, it's
I'm sure we can get some stories of that, all right.
Yeah. To me, it's a lot about positioning and also evaluating which kind of role you have to play to give the team the best opportunity to win the match, basically.
Yeah. That's a good way of looking at it. You stream yourself, so how did that journey kind of start for you? Because before touching Flying Orc or coming as part of this, you've been streaming for years on your own channel, twitch.tv/BizzeyB. Link in chat. Link in the bio.
That year's
Like
a good year, I would say, but it took me like 3 years to go there. Like basically, we met through a friend of mine that started streaming because I told him about it and I'm planning to do that. So he just decided to do it just instantly to be a little faster, I guess, than me, and encourage me to kind of hurry up.
Yeah.
But as with the most things, especially like D&D and everything that I truly do, is I learn a lot of stuff before. I want to know things inside out. I want to know everything about it. I want to know how it technically works, how I can flourish it, and whatever. So it took me a little while to actually start streaming.
Yeah.
But since then, I'm doing it consistently since like a year and 3 months, and I only missed like, let's say, 8 to 10 days, and I stream 2 days a week.
And one of them is us bringing you here, unfortunately. So apologies to your fan base that we stole you.
So to me, it's super important if I decide to do something, even if it's like small things. Like a lot of people would consider 2 streams a week for 3 to 4 hours is not much. Mm-hmm. But I rather do it that way and consistently and for a longer time than like do it 6 days a week and burn out after like 3 months or something.
Yeah, but do you find that that's...
I like...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I like to let things grow organically, no matter what it is. If it's your chess skills, your martial arts skills, your D&D skills, whatever it is, I think if you add little things that you can have in your daily routine consistently over years and years and years, it will form you much more than always only focus on one thing and go super hard on it, burn out, don't be interested anymore and do something else and start all over again. Yeah. To me, the other way around, it's a little bit more healthier and like in kind of organic growth into that thing. And then you can later decide where to put more focus on, I guess.
Absolutely. Do you find it difficult balancing like a personal life with... Because right now you've got kind of a 3-day middle of the week schedule, right? Because it's Tuesday your stream, Thursday your stream, and in the middle of that is the Wandering Isles on Wednesdays. So is that difficult for you to manage, or is it just...
No, not really. I just do it. Like, it's with a lot of things. Some days I feel like, I don't want today, but I still go through. And most of the times, if you just in the act, you feel good about it. So that's also a thing, like you need some spaces to charge yourself, right? No matter what it is that you do, if you like reading or arts or go to work out in a gym or whatever, you need these little islands to charge up again. And then the stuff that you do has way more potential and you have more energy to work in these things. And that's why I keep it that way, and it works good for me.
Yeah. With that, you mentioned like there's a lot of ways to decompress and to do things. Like when you go onto your stream, though, it usually starts with, you're getting into it, you come up with this like powerful rhythm, and then you are, clicking pixels for the rest of the day and getting into it. Is that like a big change from, say, going to like a full day of work and then going in and just bringing that energy? Because you always do. And even when you stream with us, the first thing, you're always doing accents, you're always into it, you're super like on as soon as the cameras go on, and it's like a really fascinating thing. You're sort of calm, and then 100%, and you give 100% to what you're doing. And like you mentioned the little islands, how do you balance that for yourself in life?
I think okay, I have to start somewhere else. It starts with choosing the right job. That makes sense. Yeah. So that was a game changer for me, because I had like a little event agency before, and I wasn't happy with it. And then I did quit my office, so I sold everything and liquidized everything. And then I sold all my stuff got rid of my flat, and then I lived in a tent and hiked for like 8 months to kind of understand what I am, what I should do. Like, what do I really want? What makes busy? What defines me? What are my own thoughts? That was also a big thing for me. Like, if you are in an environment, like an urbanized environment and corporate identity environment, and all the media, all the information that gets through your mind, you are at a point where you can't differentiate what is your own thought and what is somebody else's thought you're just thinking. You know? That was like a really big one for me. So after that, I did a lot of stuff. I started a second degree at the university. And then I got to a primary school where I work now since almost 10 years. Mm-hmm. And that is like my happy place. That is the first time in my life wherever I get up and I'm happy to go there, to be there, to
it's a beautiful thing.
Kind of. Yeah, and I think if you are in a state of mind where you feel good about the stuff that you're working on, then you also have a lot of energy to put in other things. And that's the same thing as well. Like I love the games I'm playing. I love the campaigns we're doing. So even if my battery isn't fully charged, doing that stuff is charging me while I'm doing it. So it's kind of a weird interaction between the stuff that I'm doing, because the stuff we talk about and that I have to think about stuff and have to re-evaluate situations and abilities, that stimulates my mind in a way that it also charges me, even if that it should be exhausting to some degree, but it really isn't. The same goes for me with music. Like when I'm doing music, sometimes I sit like for 4-6 hours. I don't even realize that I'm working on that for so long. But it doesn't make me tired. It fucking hypes me, like, because I just love to do it.
Yeah, that's a thing that we share. It's when it comes to, you mentioned that, so you like to dig deep into things. You've brought D&D, I know, into your personal life as well. You worked with a group of kids that you helped play D&D campaigns with and try and evolve that. Was that like a process for you? Is that just combining two things for you, two worlds for you, or is that something you're just really passionate about, or are you just bringing D&D with you wherever you go? Is that how it works for you?
No, I'm passionate about it, but to me, it's most of the time when I'm passionate about something doesn't necessarily mean that I tell everyone about it.
Yeah, of course.
Some of the stuff I just keep for myself. Like I was asked a lot of times, why don't you do stuff with your music? Your stuff is great. You should bring stuff out and stuff. But
I don't
most
shut
of
up
the
about
time,
that.
yeah. But most of the time is more about finding the words to express what you can't say with words, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
And I like when people like it, but most of the times I just try to give, especially with the kids, I try to give them different perspectives. So the D&D might be a tool for 1, 2, 3 kids. Calligraphy might be another tool for 3, 4, 5 kids. Like music might be a tool for 3, 4, 5 kids. So I try to bring like tools that some kids might pick up, some kids might not, and then I switch to different stuff that also are part of me, right? So it's not necessarily that I just breathe D&D day in and day out. Like,
I'm not convinced.
It's a part of me, but it's not like a thing that I would say it's like a super focus from my side, though. I really enjoy it. I really love the depth of it, that you, even if you played for like 6 years, you can still learn a lot of stuff. I really like that about it.
That's something I
And
quite
the
like.
endless opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something I quite like about you is that I'll come on, like you mentioned that like you don't always talk about your interests to every single person, and that is something I'll come online. We'll be meeting up, and you're like, "Oh man, I was up till 4 a.m. I was like deep in the rabbit hole of physics," and I'm like, "Where did that come from?" Like we were talking about chess yesterday, or the day before we were talking about Apex, and but like you find these things that you're very deeply passionate about, and I like that. It's nice that you bring all of these things together, and I learn things about you every day because of that. It's you don't just vomit everything about yourself. It takes time to learn about you, and it's an enjoyable thing. And that's also coincidentally how you play your characters, which is really fun as well. And on that note, look at that for a segue. Did you see that? That was some pro shit. Look at Ryan, are you proud of me? This is how it works. So on that note, let's talk a little bit about your entrance to D&D, your first character. Why don't you tell us a little bit about him?
So my first character ended out as Avalon Ambrosius, which he wasn't introduced to as, because in his story, when I first played D&D, I obviously wanted to play a wizard, because I thought in my mind, like, wizard was the coolest fucking shit ever. Like I bought, like, since I applied to the first campaign, I bought the physical player's handbook, and I was browsing through all that stuff. So and I went into the wizard category, and I saw like endless pages of spells and shit, and like how you can form your wizard, and I don't know. And I was like, man, I really want to play it. But the only wizard that I had in my head, because I read all of the books, was Merlin. And especially there is an episode, there's one book that is called Merlin and the Dragon, and Merlin and his Dragon, or something like that. It's basically, it's a green dragon, and he found him in the land of Avalon. So I kind of wrote my character around all that saga, but I made him his, what's the English word? If he's my grandfather, what was I to him?
Grandson? Yeah, it was his grandson.
Grandson, yeah. So I envisioned Avalon as his grandson, and he was just basically named after the land of Avalon. And
Grandson
then I wrote
Merlin.
the story.
Yeah,
grandson of Merlin, right? And I wrote like his whole background story in the land of Avalon, and I also wrote that there was like a super powerful wizard that tried to enthrone Merlin and basically kill him and absorb his powers and all the magic from the land of Avalon, because Avalon was like in like a pocket dimension, like a magical pocket dimension. And then he was sent back in time through a powerful dragon named Aglareros. And she did send
the whole campaign, by the way.
yeah. And she did send him back in time to change the future. So that was basically his story, and I was so hyped, and I was like, yeah, man, ooh-doo-doo-doo-doo. The first 3 levels of Avalon was a fucking nightmare. I didn't understand how shit worked. I misread the spells and how they work and what you need, and I didn't know about resources you need, and I was like, man, I was so pissed a lot of the times. I give roleplayers so much shit because I was arguing while we were playing. Why doesn't that work? That doesn't make sense. This is stupid. Like, you know. And
it was impressive though, because by level 3, Avalon encountered the giant and got hit with a nat 20 critical hit on Avalon from the giant, and he built his wizard to be the only non-squishy wizard I've ever seen before. He got like, and like Avalon's like, yeah, you got more? Come on. Like, it was such a crazy thing. I've never seen, like, nobody at that level should withstand it, but you were using your spells effectively, you were using stuff, and like at a way higher level than, this is my first campaign, I'm a level 3 wizard, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And that was the stuff that made me excited about the wizard then, finally, because I realized, okay, if I don't like certain aspects, I just build my character to basically not have to deal with them at all. So I realized I'm a fucking squishy shit, and if my spell slots run out, I'm fucking done. So I have to play in a different way, and I have to build that character so he can fucking take a hit.
Yeah.
So it turned out to be an abjuration wizard, and the fucking ward saved my life more than like 20 times. I'm pretty sure.
That ward became infamous.
Not only my life, but other people's life as well.
It was the bane of my existence too, because I'm like, oh, I got someone. I got them down to like 2 HP, and you're like, my ward takes all 40 points of that. And I'm like, no!
Yeah, and that was a really cool experience. And then because he entered the world as a foreigner basically, and he didn't know that timeline and how things work, he because of the stuff he saw in the past, he got traumatized, and to make like a fresh start, his personality got split. So the party was introduced to Sir Winchester first, which had a very crazy voice. He was talking like that all the time.
And he was such a fucking troll, man. He was a goblin.
And basically, his personality was the totally opposite of that of Avalon. So the first year, the whole party just knew Avalon as Sir Winchester. That was always trolling and making it like a party between like brothers.
Yeah.
And he mocked people. He did set up fake wanted posters and whatever.
Yeah. Poor Hardy. Yeah.
So after a while, he kind of evolved and got over his like past, I would say, and he grew a lot, and he kind of took over again. So Sir Winchester was banned into the back of his mind, and real Avalon turned out. And I really enjoyed, like, I would say from level 12 to 14-ish until level 20, playing him was a fucking blast. Because I had so many tools on my hand to do stuff, but I didn't really want to, like, I've read a lot of stuff. I saw a lot of stuff where people like going ham on like wish spells and super upcasted shit, and I didn't really like it because, in my opinion, it destroyed like the whole narrative. Avalon wasn't ever about power creeping or becoming the most important person in the universe or whatever.
Which is a little bit ironic.
His point. his point all the time was to protect those who are worthy to be protected from forces that have to be controlled. That was his whole point.
Yeah.
And I love the way and the tools that he got to make things work, and also step back and let other people do stuff and just be the one that does battlefield control and helps to guide players to their position to have their moments. Yeah. And I really, really enjoyed that.
For Avalon, like you said, like he wanted to be back. He didn't want to be the center of focus, but there's a massive irony in that because of how his story and narrative actually developed when we got into it. It was my first time being a DM, so unfortunately what kind of happened is you gave me this well-structured story, and I wove the campaign I was building around that. So I'm really glad Avalon made it to the end, because this would have been a fucking difficult story to tell without him. But he kind of became this embodiment of like a lot of different things. So I'd like to know a little bit more about how you saw things going for Avalon, and then how things actually went. Like, what was was it the last episode where you kind of just got it and it clicked, or was it something that you were building up over time and you understood the story I was weaving with you, or how did it work for you?
It was kind of a little bit from everything, I guess. I always knew that like Avalon had a connection to the egg of Aglareros, where the campaign was weaved around. So
Yeah.
I know there has to be some connection in some regard, but I wasn't quite sure what kind of connection it is. And there was a time when I thought I was the inside from the egg. So I was actually like an alteration of the dragon that was usually inside the dragon's egg thing. Then I thought I was just a piece of it, or I had to be like interacting with the egg to release some other law or whatever. And after a while, especially after like I met so many people, like I met my grandfather, I met powerful wizards, and nobody
that's like the story, Mordenkainen, and then you met all of like these famous wizards of D&D, Tasha and stuff. Yeah, which counts.
After a while that we recognized, okay, we don't get really help, and at first I thought, okay, he wouldn't sabotage his own campaign with fucking powerful allies and shit, you know. But I was like, at some point I was like, wait a minute, something is strange here. It's like as if they would knew something that I don't know yet. Like, right. So then it ticked in my head, especially after some interactions with Israfil and his story. I was like, actually, he isn't the super bad guy. Like to the same degree that you can't really hate Tarnus, even if he fucking flipped and erased half of everything. Yeah. He had that moment when he was at his happy place, where you would feel what he was going through and what his intention was, actually.
Yeah.
So I thought, like, I had one moment where I thought, okay, Israfil isn't that different to Avalon. And then it kind of clicked from there that I realized, okay. And what didn't leave my mind over years was the fact that we were in hell and somebody used copies of us to do stuff.
Campaign got a bit crazy, yeah.
And I was like, why should he? Like, if he's that power hungry bastard, why does he put so much effort into it? Like, what does he want from me as a person, as Avalon? Like, what's the fucking link? I don't get it. So later it clicked for me, okay, it has to do something with me, but also Sir Winchester helped me a lot as a player to understand what was going on. So then we realized, okay, we are all one. It's just not one person. We are just...
The campaign existed of 3 characters, but for them it was 2. That they kind of followed around. There was circumventing stories and stuff like that, but the primary story that was followed was that basically this gentleman named Israfil would show up in multiple timelines across all of their stories and their narratives, and each one of them came to me with a story, and I inserted Israfil into it. In some ways, he had traumatic experiences with family members. Sometimes he was just there and made bad things happen, those kind of things. And the other side of this was a character that they met who was completely fractured, wandering, lost, and his name was Tempest, and he was a representation of time as it was established over time. And the entire time that they were dealing with this, one of them was inherently super evil and the other one was super confused, and they were sort of representations of Avalon. For me, that was part of the story in my head, was that they were part of Avalon and the different paths he could take by following this timeline that he had created. He could either be the good guy, the lost guy, so Sir Winchester. He could be the good guy, which I envisioned to be Avalon, or he could be the bad guy, which I envisioned to be Israfil. And by the end of the campaign, the last moment of the campaign is you choosing what path is best. And it was like a really nice moment to watch you kind of put the pieces together. Like, I think that was actually our first stream on Flying Orc, I think, was with the final episode of the Egg of Aglareros, that campaign. And it was like really cool because I was watching you were dealing with combat, you were dealing with things, and you were like, trying to piece these final pieces of the campaign together, and it was like a really serendipitous, nice experience to watch because everything came together for you, and that was nice. That was nice. I enjoyed that. You played it really well, and you gave me a very detailed story, which kind of leads me.
I never thought that we would play that campaign out for like, what was it, 4 years,
Nearly
4.5 years?
Yeah.
That was fucking crazy, and like that's the same thing. Like I can count on two hands how many sessions I've missed.
Yeah.
So that
barely
was like
any,
it was like a weekly routine that was a lot of fun. Like my English improved from B2 to maybe A1.
Yeah, your English
I
is
would
great.
say.
Yeah. That's because you had to learn like transmogrify and like all of these wizard terms. Like that's advanced English.
It was crazy. Like, yeah, the thing is, I learned English in school, and I obviously knew a lot of English from songs and stuff. But to do that weekly, to talk with guys, and even if people are mumbling and having accents and stuff, it helped me to get a better ear for English and to get a better flow, to not have to think about a lot when I'm talking, other than like fucking wizardry terms. Transmoglamagolomor.
There you go. You walk into your English exams just like crushing it. Polymorph.
Polymorph. No, that was the thing that gave me a lot of confidence, and also helped to improve my game, because I think even no matter what you do, like all the online stuff, and we live in a world that is getting connected more and more and more and intense. So to have multiple languages to speak is super beneficial, and I fucking love it that I can just talk to people about my thoughts and about things. Like, yeah, that really was a blast as well, and an evolution over the years where I really benefited from.
When you mentioned like that you came at it, I talked a little bit about how you came at it with Avalon was one of the first conceptual stories you came up with while I was writing the C1, our first campaign. And you put a lot of effort and a lot of work into Avalon, and that's something obviously I know, because with Hatsu, I came up with the Wandering Isles premise, it must be about 4 years ago now, and started building it with my friend Luke, and we started like talking about things, and then it just like completely blew into this whole thing after that, and like watching TV shows that inspired me, or reading books that inspired me, or whatever. And one of the first characters that was brought to me, like as I talked to people in the early stages of this, was Hatsu Toshitsugu. And when I say Bizzey came prepared, I mean you had like 18-page PDF that was like his bio, his backstory. You decided like, okay, this is what I kind of want for level 1 to 20. This is my loose thing. Here's the narrative I want. Here's some pictures that inspire me. It was like this amazing portfolio of a career you never lived. It was a career to come. That's such a cool, like I have more of an overview of like what you want for Hatsu than I do for the other players combined from this thing. Is that like a big part of it for you? Do you like that, like digging deep into that prep work of it? Is that like a
absolutely. Like I'm a very creative person, and if something tingles my mind, I'm 1,000% into it. Like, but I also have to say, like, Hatsu is also part of me. Like, it is something from me. I've been into martial arts for like 15 years, and I even started when I was 5. I started with judo. And so martial arts has accompanied me over the half of my life. Yeah. So Hatsu, the main core character, Hatsu Toshitsugu, is a mixture from two persons that are really important on my martial arts journey.
Oh, that's so cool.
Which is Hatsumi Masaki, which is the current Soke of Bujinkan Ninjutsu, which combines 9 traditional Japanese war arts. There's 6 samurai schools and 3 shinobi schools. which are combined under one roof, and his teacher, which was Takamatsu Toshitsugu.
That's amazing.
Which was also known as the Mongolian tiger during the Second World War. And these two people inspired me a lot in a lot of ways, and I was always impressed by the way they approach things, how they teach things, which metaphors they create for stuff, and how they encourage you to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
And like Hatsu is like an embodiment of these two gentlemen, a little bit of my own sensei, a little bit of me, but also a lot of ritual tradition that I want to pass along through such a beautiful game, you know, so that people might explore parts of reality in kind of a fictional scenario. So you never know what is true, what is not, but it doesn't matter because it's all part of something that just inspires you to be more interested in different cultures, in different philosophies, in different religions, in different approaches, how people view things. And that's what I really love to embody in that character. So there's a lot of stuff that I knew in advance because that would be stuff that I would want, that I would carry. I would carry a katana, I would carry a wakizashi, I would carry a kunai. I would carry lots of the stuff that I had mentioned for Hatsu because I really want him, you know.
Yeah,
so
of course, yeah.
I want him to carry them too, and I want to describe how they work, how somebody from his caliber would approach things, how he would be stealthy. Not only that he would be stealthy, but I would give out little pieces during the campaign, how he actually is stealthy, how you can be stealthy in real life if you really want it. And I really love that. And then obviously to write like his whole family tree and describe all the different family members was really, really fun, because I could build a world around him that would make him the Hatsu that he is. And I could explain why he is like that, and which traditions and philosophies and mindsets would lead to such a person.
With Hatsu, it was really nice too because he was so well developed. I was able to build a home for him. Saigo no Toshi was built with Hatsu in mind because it was based on the traditions that you had implemented within Hatsu's sheet. So for me personally, that's one thing that I'm so extremely looking forward to, is when Hatsu gets to go home and like see Saigo no Toshi, and you actually like Bizzey controlling Hatsu gets to go and explore this city that's been built with its own culture and its rich thing, inspired by so many things that inspire you. And that was really fun because you don't know much about, like, you have little bits of information about the world history or whatever, so that you know, like, each character got their own thing. But for you to go home and experience this, I'm excited because Hatsu deserves to have a playground. So I'm really excited to see him cut loose.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. So you mentioned that these people inspired you to create Hatsu. Is that something like that inspiration from your life? You bring all of these elements into every character you make, or is this something unique and special to Hatsu?
I mean, to be honest, it's my second character, and Avalon wasn't like that, but I would argue that you always bring something from your personality into a character to some degree. Like, there's always things that inspire you, or maybe you have read a lot of Rings or whatever, and you're inspired by that, or you have played Warhammer Newman and get some name inspirations. And you know, I think also a big part of D&D and why it is so great and why I did like to introduce it to kids is like, you have like a framework to to basically create your own scenery. You can create your own how it should have ended, you know?
Yeah.
If you're not happy with like how a story ended, you just rewrite it. You make like you rename the character and just play differently. Like this, you do it your own thing. So, and that's what I also like about music. Like I grew up with in hip hop culture, and I always loved the philosophy of valuing the things that are already there, but give it your own twist. Like sampling is a big part of hip hop producing, and knowing the old stuff to learn where you came from, but also give it your own style to show where we at. You know?
Yeah, give it your own
so,
flavor.
And this is kind of the same for me, because like all you experience as a human, all the things in the world that are astonishing, that inspire you, can be part of any character you ever want, right? No matter how you see the world, no matter how you want to play it out, you have like a base for that. And that's what I really love about D&D, that you can have your mental playground to combine stuff and make it work, basically.
Hell yeah. With we talked a little bit about like so you created Hatsu, you had this pack, you created Avalon, you had story design, you had put a lot of effort and stuff into it. Is this something you approach each session with as well, or do you go in kind of blank or like just ready to play? Do you have like a preparation ritual or anything you do?
To me, it's important to understand how my character works. And what I can and cannot do, and I will sometimes try to do the impossible things, but most of the time I would play towards my strength, which makes more sense to me. Like, if I'm a bishop, I can't try to act like a knight. That wouldn't make sense to me, you know?
Sure.
So I try certain things. Sometimes I try to be the knight, to see if it has any benefit to me. Sometimes I try to impose as a knight, but then act as a bishop, and then people are surprised. But
never let them know what's coming next.
Yeah, but that's also the beauty within a party. If you know everything, if you metagaming to the fucking tits, it's not fun. Like
this show. This show is fun, right?
I want to be surprised. I want to not know how things will play out, because then I'm super excited in the situation. And then my preparation is basically to know my shit. So if I know my shit, I can learn other people's shit. And if I understand other people's shit, I can try to find synergies to make shit work even better. And that's what I like about it. So I try to be like blank. I try to be open-minded. I empty the cup before I start observing and stuff. I don't expect anything from anybody.
Yeah.
And that's also a big thing that I learned in C1. I took stuff which looked cool on paper, but then in-game you realize you need so many rounds to set it up, and you need your teammates to help you to set it up, that it's just frustrating if just one guy, Nessie, doesn't understand what you're doing and fuck it up. So I really early learned, don't expect people to do stuff even if you think it's a logical thing to do. Yeah. They have their own logic. You have to let them have their own logic. You can't rely on other people's thoughts because you don't fucking know them. Right. So that's also something that I learned, to be like, okay, know your shit, know what you can do, and if you feel like they fuck it up for themselves, then you can try to jump in and help. Maybe you do something, they acknowledge what you're doing, they understand what you're doing, they might jump in as well. But in the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's important that you know your character and you play your character like how you like him to play. And if it doesn't work out, if you get killed, okay, that's fine. Try it different another time, you know?
No, that's good though. Like, I think that was a big thing for you with Avalon, was learning the mortality and how much it matters and how much it doesn't in D&D, like figuring out your limits, your lines and stuff. And now with Hatsu, like I'm excited for, because you know my combat gets wild. I'm excited to see Hatsu just unleashed, protecting his friends with everything he has, protecting himself, protecting his honor, protecting whatever it is. I always think of protecting when I think of Hatsu. I feel he gives me that image in my mind. So, but I'm looking forward to seeing him give everything he can to that sort of process. Is there something in particular that you're looking forward to? Maybe you don't have to spoil anything now, but that you're kind of looking forward to with Hatsu, or maybe you're curious about with how things are going at the moment? I know we're only like 6 sessions in to this particular campaign, but is there something?
There's a lot of stuff I'm excited about.
Oh, it's a long
people wouldn't see it coming, I promise you that. But
they never do. They never see Hatsu coming. How many times has he scared Dash?
Yeah, I think the beauty of that campaign is that a lot of characters have like so many different niches and styles they play their shit out that it's very exciting. And I'm happy that Hatsu has these kind of facets as well. There will be a lot of speculating what or who Hatsu actually is. And I really like that.
I can already tell you behind the scenes that's happening. I've heard things.
I really like the mystery that is going to be created around him. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure the group isn't the only ones that will fear craft about him after a while. But in the end of the day, I'm super hyped to kind of see everything evolve, and not only Hatsu, like the whole world is a totally different approach that everything that I've seen before or heard about. So I really like the approach, and I really like to see it unfold in every facet. Like I'm super hyped about that.
Yeah, me too. It's gonna be fun. Like I think everybody's very different, and I think that like it's strange in a way because you're all very versatile as actors, players, whatever we want to call it. But I really like that Hatsu can be the most serious one in one moment and flick it and be like comedy relief in like the second moment. I like this kind of thing you've got going with Hatsu, and I'm really excited to learn more about him and what he is or who he is, or like all of these things. Like I'm gonna be sitting there theory crafting too. I know the information, but man, I enjoy it.
2 days and then the double moon eclipse will rise.
Yeah, we'll see what
I can tell you that.
It's like 11 days, I think, in game. We have to work it out.
Oh, 11 days, yeah.
Yeah, we have some questions from our audience. We'll go through. Bear with me. I am trying new technical things. This should speak to us and ask the questions. I don't know. We're going to try it. We're going to push the button. If this just word vomits, we'll cut it from YouTube. It's fine. Did this work? I don't even know if it worked.
Deranged Rhino asked a question. Who was Bizzey's favorite character in C1?
I love our prospector. Is that Boblin? That's probably our mod Boblin, right? So who was Bizzey's favorite character in C1?
That's a hard question.
Does it count NPCs?
It counts in NPCs. I'm honest. I wasn't super attached to the NPCs in C1 because.
Oh, I understand that. Yeah.
It was like we talked about it a lot, but if I have to really pick one, obviously Avalon was a blast, but from a character itself and how he was played and his story, it was Gregor Eisenhorn.
Really? I was speaking of Kev.
It was really the way his story was weaved into the whole narrative, the way he talked about his family, the way he played out the morals of the character. Yeah. And that you felt in combat, I always felt like he's keeping an eye on me, like all the fucking time. No matter what he was doing, I always had the feeling like he cares about all the characters. And I really like that.
That was what Kev brought to... Kev, our friend who was in our home game, he brought that to the character. Yeah, he brought a lot of heart to it. And it was interesting to see his story play out because he didn't technically get his like happy ending at the end of the story, which was like, yeah, it was this whole build up. It was a long thing. So maybe one day we'll go into that. Because the prospector won't maybe ask this question. Mandela asked, when you mentioned the camping, where did you go camping? Was it in Europe or various countries? You said you walked a lot.
Yeah. Basically, I attempted to walk to Mecca by foot, and I incorporated on my journey the Jacob's pilgrimage route towards the west of Spain.
So it was like, yeah, you went far,
and then
like through Germany,
down to
right?
Morocco, then through Morocco, and then over to the east. Yeah, I went with my brother. We went till, what was it? Lyon, a little bit further south than Lyon. Yeah, and then we had to give that plan up for health reasons.
Hey, health
but
comes
we
first.
Yeah, that's it. So the journey in itself was a blast, a life changer. I learned so much about me. I learned so much about my brother. I learned so much about people and how different you approach a country if you really walk in. That's strange because people drive in, fly in, rail in, but not a lot of people walk in.
Is
and
it weird crossing a border? Did they like you get harassed? They're like, you walked here? Like,
no, you can't see the border. That's the thing. Like, cause you don't drive on streets. If you go through the woods or the fields, there is no fucking border. And then you realize, I think my sound fucked up.
Oh, you're good. I can hear you. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. And then you realize, okay, there is no hard borders whatsoever. There is like, you have a region that starts to become bilingual. Then they have like a shared space on the border.
It like spreads,
and then it's this other way around where the German fades and the French takes over more and more.
Yeah.
And it's not, there is no hard borders nowhere. So, and to see like, okay, this is quite familiar, this is super familiar, then it becomes strange a little, but you climatize faster while you're walking. You take more time to enter that country, you climatize different, and by the point where it should be strange, it's already familiar again. You know?
That's nice,
and
though, but you only experience that on foot, right?
Yeah.
Like it's hard to experience unless you really travel. Yeah.
And I can only encourage everybody that is young and don't have any responsibilities when it comes to kids and stuff. Do it. Just go somewhere. Like, set a target, I don't know, Lisbon or whatever, and just go. Trust me. It's a whole different experience, and you learn a lot. You learn a lot about people. You learn a lot about yourself. It's crazy. Yeah, and that's also something that made me calm down. Before I was always like, we have to do something. Let's build a company. Let's do this. Let's do business there. And I was like, I was never calm. I was always on the run to do something, and to have the confidence in yourself and to learn that there's so much beauty in the world that you can observe. It really calms down your heart, and you don't feel the necessity for all the material stuff anymore. Absolutely. So you become more free in that sense. So you take your time to observe stuff, to learn things you never learned about, you know,
of course,
things like that.
Makes sense. Absolutely. I'm gonna blast on to the next question from our own Mr. Dash Heidman.
Mr. Dashy. Now I don't wear suits. Next question.
He said, is there a class you haven't played yet?
Oh, yes. Every class, but wizard. And I don't know if I want to spoil Hatsu's class.
I see what he's doing, actually. That's probably what he's doing. He's probably trying to trick out, like, oh, I haven't played these classes. I've only played these ones. Is he out there? He's trying to get some clues. but you'll never
80,
learn.
90 elo, buddy. You don't trick me like that.
Problem of speech is a little quiet. I'll take a look at it in a sec. The next question that was asked then was by our own Amadriano Rano. Asked, when we first started the campaign, I asked Bizzey, was it Sir or S-E-R, Sir? And he said, I guess we'll find out. So which was it then for Sir Winchester?
It was Sir. S-I-R.
Okay. I thought you weren't going to explain. I thought you were just like, yeah, it was Sir, man. What do you want?
No, the whole thing around it was he, by the time he landed in that region, in that time, he didn't know shit, and he didn't have paper. And he understood quite well that you need an identity. You just can't go around and like have no paperwork and no family, no relatives, no whatever. So what he did is, that's why it was part of his narrative. He had expertise in like disguising himself and giving fake papers and stuff. So he created that identity of that Sir. That was like a guy from that could like do stuff. That was like a noble, if you want to phrase it that way. So he established that identity to have room to breathe, to gather information, and also in that way he is kind of like Dash a little bit, or he was like Dash a little bit. He imposed it as a guy that had money and connections and stuff to follow up with information and clearing a path to find his way to the egg, basically. And to find a way to kind of change the future that he was sent for there.
Nice. Okay. Our last question comes from Mr. Solid 10 D&D in our chat. Mr. Mrs. I actually don't know. Solid 10 D&D. They asked, which is your most memorable game in? What is your most memorable in-game D&D moment, and what happened? Make this juicy.
In-game D&D moment. Oof. Yeah, it's a little. I really don't like to say that it was with my own character, but it really was, and it was the end fight with Israfil. That I had a fucking blast playing that, because everything, like you have to okay, when you play chess, the better you get, the more turns you try to calculate in advance, right?
Yeah.
So as a beginner, you do like 2-3 moves, then 5, 4, 6, 7, until a point where you look at the clock and you start thinking through every line you know that is similar to that line you're playing. And you just calculate every fucking line and you pick the best one for you. The one that works best for you. And in that last game we had, I was calculating through so many options, and each and every one I picked worked out in the best way that I could ever imagine. And that was a fucking blast. Like, that was so cool to see. And then something didn't work, and I adapted in a split of a second. Okay, then we do plan B, we do it like that. And then it worked. And it was so fucking cool, because I had so much utility and so much powerful stuff to use, but I also choose to not harm the BBEG, because I knew it was a part of me, so I couldn't kill him, and I didn't want to kill him. I want to fuse with him, so I didn't harm him, but also controlled the whole battlefield at the same time, and that was a fucking blast to play, though.
Yeah, no, it's good, and it was interesting to see, because, like, for a lot of the characters who are playing C1, it's important just for context to people who obviously weren't at our home game. Like, it's important for context to note that everybody kind of wrapped up their stories before this moment, but Avalon couldn't. So, because this was his story was part of the main campaign, it was baked in. So for a long time, there were parts where Avalon had to try and figure out these clues that just weren't moving or progressing because everyone wanted to do their own things or figure things out or maybe take it slow or take a different direction. And so it took a while, like, of weaving and putting things in. So you had to compile like 3.5 years of campaign into the final session to really give it the gravitas and importance that it should have for Avalon, which was a really cool thing. We got hella questions in chat, so I'm gonna jump through them. So where were we? Deranged Rhino has asked so he said, so is he a Lycan confirmed? He believes Hatsu may just be like a werewolf under that mask. He's just gonna lift it up and it's gonna be a big snout and everything.
I'm just saying Hatsu is not the hero you might wish for, but the hero you need.
He's Batman. I'm Batman.
He's Batman.
What was Rhino asked about your Warforged? You played a Warforged in a one-ish shot. We did like a side one shot for a while.
Oh yes, I can't remember at all.
You don't remember? Okay, that's a word.
I don't remember because I was so fucking frustrated about that one shot that I forgot everything about it.
Playing, yeah, that was big. So
next question.
John, yeah, just quickly outside. I got it. I'm a professional. John asked, so Taco Bear asked, who's on Hatsu's, I guess from the Wandering Isles, who's on Hatsu's bed, wed, behead list? So fuck, marry, kill, basically, but a much nicer way of saying it. Do you know this game? Do you know what this is?
Yeah, but to be absolutely honest, I know if you introduce it like that, you're most likely not honest, but trust me, I am. He doesn't think about it at all.
He wants to kill everybody equally. Got it.
He is, and I think I can give away that much because you should already have recognized it. He's a very mindful person. He's a very thoughtful person. He's also very attached to nature, which has religious intents. Kind of similar how Wes would realize and recognize his dream.
Yeah.
And in that regard, he doesn't think in these categories at all. Like he wouldn't even. No, he wouldn't really. So I can't tell you.
Okay, I mean, but that in itself is a good answer because that gives more insight into Hatsu than like if he did just pick 3 random people, right? This gives a lot more to who he is.
I mean, if you also see his family tradition, you already learned about a female person that is kind of important to him at his trials.
I'm hella excited to explore that story.
He wasn't grown up in these categories because everybody in their family and the surrounding families in Saiga no Toshi, they were like on eye level. It's all about who you are and what you can do to provide for the family. It didn't matter if you're male or female. It didn't matter if you're humanoid or owl type of guy or whatever. They all worked for one purpose, and that was the security and the wealth and the health of the people of Saiga no Toshi. Yeah. They didn't thought about different categories.
I like that. And I also like that John said, now I regret not calling it Bang Smash Dash, which, you know, would make Ian very happy if he's still in chat. The first Snow Queen asked, how long have you been playing D&D for?
Basically, I started when we started playing, I think it was 2019-ish, right after Corona hit. We started then.
I have the dates.
I think Corona. I think Corona gave us the idea to do something as a group, and you introduced D&D, and then we all said, "Hell yeah, let's try." Yeah.
I was watching D&D
right
online
before, I think.
Yeah, before kind of COVID. I was watching D&D online. I was a long way into it, and I'd started coming up with an idea for a campaign. And then when COVID hit and everybody was busy, I was like, do we like do this now because we can't do anything else? Like, I have a story. Do you guys just want to kind of run with it? And then I wove it into your backstories, and yeah, became a thing. In a moment, we are going to raid somebody. John wants to confirm that you have no one arranged for marriage and no one arranged to be beheaded. Which I actually really like.
I agree to the first one. I can't talk about the second.
And then we find out what the headset off moment this week was, where you were like planning who you're gonna murder.
I signed a contract. Like I can't talk about it legally.
You did actually sign a contract.
I'm sorry.
Now people are gonna think you're a warlock. You see?
Why did he hate my dog?
Yeah, Ryan keeps asking. He was like, "Why did I actually missed that? I'm so sorry, Ryan." Why did you hate Solvy's dog in campaign 1?
I didn't hate him, but it was also part of his attempt to teach the group that certain spells do a hell lot of damage, and you should make space for that kind of damage. And if
we talking about a certain fireball, is it?
Yeah, we're talking about a certain amount of fireballs where people decided to stand on fucking 5 enemies the whole fucking fight. And after round 5, I said, well, fuck you. And I just threw it on top of him.
I love that the music's like, and you're like, oh, fuck you, and I threw fireballs, and like, and the music's like,
yeah, that's a lie. No, I was not talking about your dog, Mr. Rhino.
There's like something baked in there. There's some hate baked in there.
Yeah, but
so angry, so quick.
A swamp, yeah.
I'm gonna have to get both of you on to clear this up.
There's also learning processes, Mr. Rhino. The same way you try to do melee and died a shit ton of times. The amount of times that Jay died, like I don't know, 50 times or something. There's also learning, and if you don't get the opportunities to learn your craft, especially with spells, how they work. I didn't even realize after my first fireball that I would set stuff on fire. Like, I mean, the spell says it, but it's different to see it played out. And then the house burned, and then the oil barrel exploded, and then, shit, here's a swamp, there's oil, everything fucking explodes. No! Yeah, that's like learning process, because in D&D, some logic isn't applied and some logic is applied. And when you got introduced and the most of your logic isn't applied, and then you got logic applied to you that you thought it wouldn't, then it's like learning, right? And if your dog is in the way, I'm sorry.
To be fair, I should point out it was a mechanical dog we're talking about here. We're not talking about an actual dog, although I'm not sure it would have mattered either way to have one.
I know,
but I always say,
I know, Mr. Rhino. I know. You try to mock me, but yeah, it's fine. It only shows me that you deserved every fucking burn mark on your fucking skin.
It's as I always say: actions have consequences. Bonus actions have bonus consequences.
And there is a dildo of consequences.
It is really lewd. Thank you so much. We are on that epic note going to be wrapping it up shortly. We're going to be rating Geekly Inc., Geekly Incorporated, Geekly Incapacitated. I'm not sure. Geekly Inc. We are going to be rating them shortly, but Bizzey, my friend, thank you so much for coming. This was really, really fun. And this time
Thanks
just
for
flies.
having me.
I don't get it. I like when Rhino's doing this, if I'm doing this, I'm gone in it. I love it. I loved playing a game with Avalon. I'm loving playing a game with Hatsu, and I'm ready to watch him unveil the mask, and we all find out that he's actually just like Jeff Goldblum. That's my prediction.
Spoilers, that will never happen.
That he won't take the mask off, or that he's not just Jeff Goldblum? Because either way, I'm disappointed.
He will never take the mask off.
Is it going to be like a Batman thing, or like the Flash, where they try and they get electrocuted?
One question: have you seen him eating?
Me personally, that's true. He goes into his room and he closes the door and Powerball.
He always eats in the darkness.
Mystical Powerball, man. It's a shame some of these guys can see in the dark, right? Yeah, thank you, Bizzey. This was awesome. We have to do it again when we're a little further into the campaign. We have to get some updates and some like Hatsuisms, and you got like Hatsu merch out there, like a little ninja action figure or something. Yeah, no, thank you so much. Thank you, chat. You guys were awesome. I saw all the subs and the likes and the bits and the the wanky walk callouts. Yes, to anyone who hasn't watched that episode of Wandering Isle, this is going to be really out of context.
Oh, we have to do a shirt for sure.
Yeah, it has to be a shirt, right? That's like probably my favorite moment so far. You guys are awesome, chat. You guys are pumping out questions. It's hard to keep up with it. I'm doing my best. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much for always being here and supporting us. As always, my social guy would be upset if I didn't say !socials to see our socials in chat. Join us in Discord, be part of the conversation. We want to build a community and we appreciate it. And you can come ping Mr. Hutsu here and ask him questions, and then maybe he will get back to you. Probably not, because he doesn't. He just pops in once every so often. He's like, yeah, I'm still alive, guys. What's up? But hell yeah. And please check out Mr. Bizzey B's stream, twitch.tv/BizzeyB. He is playing a lot of Apex and a lot of different things, and he has so much interesting stuff to say, and it's really cool. Go hang out in his chat, talk to him. You can have this conversation with him. It doesn't have to be through me. You can live vicariously through me if you want to, but you could also just talk to the man. Thank you guys so much for joining. Oh, our production manager is in chat reminding me that we do have a show tomorrow, and I'm hosting it, so I should remember that. We are doing Zero to Hero. What am I doing? D&D Beyond tomorrow, as requested by the community. Thank you very much, Mr. Dobbs. We will be going through and showing off how to make a character using the various assets of D&D Beyond, which is awesome. And then we're back next Wednesday for The Wandering Isles, and on Monday, YouTube videos for members only, and on Wednesday for everybody else. I think that's everything. Please don't yell at me, managers of different things. Thank you so much. That was a very long-winded exit. We are going to raid Geekly Incorporated. What do we shout when we raid people? Izzy, you gotta help me.
Orc raid!
Yes! Orc raid! That's what we're going to do.
For the Horde!
Why didn't we just take that, man? That's ours. For the Horde! We're still going to take looks like 12 of you. Thank you so much. Over to Multipass. Yeah, would you shout Multipass when we raid as well now, apparently? Over to Geekly Incorporated. Make them feel as welcome as you make us feel, please. Even for a few minutes, just let them feel the love you guys have. Thank you so much. I think that's everything. We're gonna copyright as your manager. Do not use. Oh shit! Right, yeah. For the Horde, we can't have it or Multipass. I'm sorry, John. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. You're always amazing in chat. Thank you. We're gonna click the raid button. We're gonna show them some love. We'll see you soon.